Good afternoon. It is October 14th, 2021. Please bear with me today. I got my son with me. Had to take him get off work early and pick him up from daycare. But anyway, this is a pretty nice uptrend day today. You really had to stick to the trend lines, the EMA. There were some traps on the EMA that we'll talk about once we get there. But if you stuck with the bias and avoided those couple of traps, you should have been good today. It was hard. I've had those days where like you happen to go long in the only few traps of the day in a trend. So don't let that beat you up. Just understand that the EMA really is a secondary trend line, and we had good examples of that today, and I'll touch on that. But anyway, prices around the open and after 5 o'clock, we were in this range, and there were definitely opportunities to be aggressive here, but I didn't think anything I could mark in here. I don't think there's anything I can mark. I think I might have entered this one, but I did. And basically I entered this one because of these matching lows. And there is room to the top to scalp out. But I got out at break even because I was like, look, I know prices are chopping around. They very well could fail out the bottom of this range. So I'm trying to make my first trade of the day a great trade. And this is just very aggressive. So anyway, we hit the top of that range, make this double top, and trap a bunch of shorts. You definitely could consider going short on this. It looks like a first failed second entry short, long. I think you would have scalped out. You probably would have had to enter at this engulfing bar though, and you wouldn't want to do that because you're going into something that just acted as support twice. So, and then you might go long here as a failed break out of the range, and you would have gotten trapped there. So, the only thing I can say, I thought I had this trend line drawn. I had it drawn earlier. The only thing I can say to that is have your trend lines drawn and treat this EMA like a secondary trend line. You see that midline fits perfectly. So if you didn't go long here, you might even go long here, but that is further confirmation of this trend line. So you don't know if a short trap is set up. So those are things you just got to be aware of, and that's why you probably shouldn't trade live for a couple of years, or unless you're a really patient person and wait for perfect setups. So if you are patient, you get a failed second entry short right here. It's aggressive, but look at how strong up this leg was. We had a counter trend break, and now we have a with trend break because prices were trending up overnight. And so there's definitely reasons to take that failure. But you get form this congestion, and you do get a first entry, second entry long. And this is off the trend line. You got to play with these trend lines and look at that midline. There was a few ways you could have interpreted this. I probably have this off by a little bit, but look at that midline. The midline works there. You get this touch off the midline here. So if you caught all that, this is also looks like it's at the bottom of congestion. You can ride this thing all the way up. Because even if you put your stop below this, we don't even come close to that. And so, anyway, ride that up. All this is far from the EMA. And then we form this congestion. We still haven't touched the EMA. This has been a while, so we're expecting a pullback. So don't go long here for any reason. Maybe you thought this was the failure would be up here, first of all. But second of all, don't go long on, this because expect it to touch the EMA first. And first entry, second entry. Ooh, yeah, so this is a very nice trap. And this is why you have to be diligently playing with your trend lines and treat the EMA like a secondary trend line. Okay, and be aware of dojis. This is a doji. This is a doji. This is a doji. So be aware of dojis. Be aware of your primary trend lines, because this is not off that trend line and it's close, and you want to expect, you want to wait for that. And draw these trend lines, because that would have helped you too. But anyway, we get a break of this, an attempt at a new low. That's just like a higher low. I just like that. Actually, this is technically a second entry. So you know what? You could argue for this to be blue, because that's a new high. First entry, second entry. It's our first break of this channel, and this is a strong trend up. You know, that's I'd be willing to risk that, because that looks like it's trapping a lot of shorts. And we're expecting 2 legs up to a new high. So anyway, you get a first entry. Okay, double bottom. This is just a break back into congestion. Here's what happened here, because I traded this. I didn't like, because of the traps we had seen earlier, I didn't want to enter on this. Indeed, you would not have scalped out right here. That was 4 ticks. So you might have gotten scalped out, but most people wouldn't get scalped out there. So I waited for prices to come back to 1 tick above this bar. If you went on an engulfing bar, which I don't know why you would have gotten filled here. But if you went on 1 tick above this, you wouldn't have gotten filled. So I waited for prices to pull back, and they did. And I am okay with that. I am okay with that trade. If it went wrong, I wouldn't be scratching my head wondering why. But I like my risk management there, and I did like that I was thinking, okay, range rules, so we'll break back in. So I do like that. The one I took earlier, you know, if you go long here, you shouldn't scratch your head if that fails. You know why that failed. You're going long into a midline of a range with strong resistance right here. That's like a triple top, quadruple top. So, you know, I want to be scratching my head when one goes wrong, unless it's something like this where I just had good risk management and entered on a limit order. But anyway, you could probably argue for going long here because it confirms this trend line, but it's a 3rd entry long. Make a new low though. First entry, failed second entry short. Oh yeah, so I didn't see that. This doesn't come back to the EMA or the trend line, so that's aggressive. But that's definitely one you would want to consider. And you get a new low right here. You can see here's a low, new low. And first entry, failed second entry, short right here. Off the EMA. So like I said earlier, this EMA was trapping people. I don't know. This one looks good. But yeah, you could have been trapped here too. So yeah, I'm marking it blue only because this is a strong uptrend. No other reason. On any other day, if we have traps on the EMA like this, I don't know if you should take that. But it works here. This was actually a range. And I had this range drawn. And probably like this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had it drawn like this. So breakout fails. That's another reason why this is super aggressive. I did just say super aggressive. So now that I'm looking at it, let's mark it aggressive. Yeah, because it's in congestion. This is clearly congestion. Yeah, so that should definitely be green. Excuse me 1 second. Excuse my interruption. I had to take a phone call. I think I was talking about this congestion. So I had this congestion drawn. If you draw your measured moves, look. We hit this, hold on. Basically form this congestion at the measured move, okay? And so I'm going to delete this congestion. That's what I was looking at as. So this was a with trend or a counter trend breakout. We get this test of this low right here, and then when we make a try and go lower once, go lower twice, and this thing closes at the EMA. I mean, I'm expecting a break back into this range. Excuse the loudness. I think you have to go long there on a day like today. Okay, so that's a good move. First entry, failed second entry, short. Actually, you would go long above that. You might go long on the engulfing bar. Yeah, actually, you would. This is your signal bar. So you go long there. That gets you a nice move. This is a failure too. So, right, that's a new low. Yeah, new low. So let's see. That looks like a trap. You got trapped. 29.25. Yeah, so you get trapped if you go long here. So let's talk about this one. Okay, so congestion. I mean, but you could argue this. Okay, so maybe you could argue this one is a breakout pullback. And that's another thing is the market geometry. So if I showed you earlier how we made a measured move down here, and it pretty much went here. Well, if you draw that up here, that creates the top of this right here. And you hit that measured move. So that's a really nice trap. That's a really nice trap. You also watch out for these dojis. It's like a breakout of that range. So you could look at that as a breakout pullback. I do think that range is what did it. Like I said just now, how this is, you got to measure a move down here. So maybe this is a larger range. You got to move it up, and that would have helped you out. But that's a nice trap. And then you get a second entry, and that traps people too. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. Doji here, doji here. This is a doji itself, so I don't know. But then you could say that about right here, all these dojis. So I guess, I mean, look at that. That looks like a mini range, and this looks like a break back into that range. So I don't know. We'll have to hear what Max says. I don't think you don't want to go short yet, so don't be taking this. We come back to close to the bottom of this range, and then first failed second entry. The reason I like this one is because you have this downtrend, and we had a break, and it's a pullback off of that. So that's why I like that one. Here you get a second entry long. The reason this is blue is because we made this low, bounced, tested it again. So that's why I like that. And then that's a new low, so you get a first. Oh wait, this is a failure. So you might go long above this one too. But first entry. Second entry long right. Actually, it would be above this one. And then it's above this one, but that's a doji. And then it's above this one. That's a doji. And it's not a new low. So this one breaks higher. And once you get this higher low right here, I think you can take that. And that's what I saw for today. It's a miracle that I got this done with a baby in the house. Hey. Okay, so let's real quick go over my trades. Okay, yeah, so I took 3 trades. 2 of them I got out. One of them I got out at break even. The other one, I broke even, but because my runner got stopped out. So, like I said here, there are reasons to take this, but you're going into the midline of congestion. So I'm not upset that I got out at break even. I don't want my first trade of the day to be a trade where I know why it fails if it fails. I want it to be, I got trapped, because then you study it and you learn from it. And then I went long at the highs of the day. This is a terrible entry. First failed second entry long. That's not a pullback. This is a pullback. That's not a pullback. You're going into the highs on a pile of garbage. I got a scalp, but then my runner got stopped out. And then, What is this? Okay, oh man, I forgot about that. Okay, so first entry, failed second entry. We had a break of the trend line. This is near the trend line. I shouldn't have entered on this. Too far from the EMA. And this trend line had been broken. But then, yeah, we get this failed breakout, and I do like this entry. I think I played it well strategically. Yeah, this is I'm expecting a break back into congestion, but this congestion is small, and then we get that first entry, second entry, and I get filled on the second entry. So I do like that entry. So that's what I saw for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have it uploaded similar time tomorrow, 1:30 or so. So have a great day.